Okay. TV calibration again, but specifically really monitor calibrations for office work and things like that. I think they need to be calibrated differently to you know, a TV or projector or something like that that's watching movies specifically, or you are specifically a gamer and you don't do much work on your PC or things like that. You know, for people like me, I pretty much use my PC all day. I am looking at this white screen pretty much on every single website, right? You know, even Notepad, you know, you can go to Paint here, you know, everything is white. So you have to get this under control. Because by the end of the day you can really damage your eyes, and you know, you can leave the office, or where if you work from home like I do, just, you know, you have to take breaks because your eyes are sore and just things like that. So really it's managing this white. You could run dark mode, right? You can just put dark mode on. This is true. The thing is with dark mode though, it does change, it can change the way certain images look, not all the time, but it can change the way certain emblems look on different sites and things like that. This is a way out, and this is really good. This is very, very good for nighttime. I still would advise using a dark mode for night, 100%. But in the daytime, I actually felt that it was not good for me personally. I have lights coming in on, or windows on the right side, and I have lights above me and things like that. And in the daytime, I'm okay. And one thing to think about is like with reading. If you're reading on, say, well, actually, if you're reading in a poorly lit room, it does hurt your eyes. So basically, when there's enough supporting light from in the room, you can actually run like a light mode, no problem. And because everything is balanced within the amount of light that's in the room to the amount of light that's on the screen. What you don't want though is look around your room as to the amount of light that's in your room, and then the screen, this white screen, is actually brighter than the room. You know, it's lighting up your face, it's lighting up everywhere, and it's hard. You just don't want that. You've just got to find a balance with this that works for you. And again, this is not really for gaming, and it's not really for movies. It's just people that just work at their PC and screens the entire day. And it's just really a struggle to try and deal with this in a meaningful way. So on the last video I did, Plasma TV for gaming, I reference him a lot because, well, I watch a lot of his videos. And he says, I'm curious to why you didn't adjust the red instead of lower blue. And he's just leaving a few comments and things like that. And he even says here, for work, I would try maybe lower than 6500. I now actually agree with this. I think you want to lower blue light as much as possible. And that's what I did with this calibration for this monitor now. Realistically here, my goal in this part was to get the grayscale really to just reach 6500. I was so focused on, you know, get into 6500, then hey, everything's done, right? You've got to then play with it for a little while, maybe a day or maybe a two, and see if that's correct for you. So I've been thinking about this for a while. I've took a break from this, but I have been thinking about it for some time, about how do I calibrate this TV differently, or this monitor differently, than how it is now, because I still thought that the white was too much. So now in limited use, you know, like I'm doing some graphic work for an hour or so. You know, maybe you know, you maybe want this set up differently, So again, you know, I'm not color grading on this, you know, or doing anything like, you know, I'm not judging things really on this monitor. I'm just trying to get through my day, browsing social media, videos, things like that, just and me working, you know, doing press releases, movies, and things like that with white screens. That's really my goal here. So now the first couple of things I want to say is so this is Windows, like the what is that? What actually is it? What is it called? Right, it's the Photos app. Sorry, brain fart there. And this is Windows Paint, and this is YouTube, right? And the reason I'm bringing this up is because you want to measure all three of these and see if they're the same. Windows 10, I found that it doesn't do that. At least on my version of it. It might be with the graphics card, it might be this whole thing. There was a difference between Windows Paint. Windows Paint was exactly how the colors and everything should look. But on the Photos app, it applied this like lime green look. And I had to find out what was going on. And it's to do with the color management on here. Now, this Windows 11 laptop doesn't really. There should be something here. I think, and it should be based off of this sRGB 2.1. And I had to apply that here and then set that as default on Windows 10. Once I did that and restarted, if I loaded an image into the Photos app or Paint, the colors were then exactly the same. The reason I'm mentioning this is because, you know, you don't want to like fully calibrate a display, and you was using, say, the Photos app, which was wrong, which was not accurate at all, and then wonder why your greens are off in, like, let's just say you did play games, right, and you did other things, you use your PC for many different things, watching a video or whatever, and it's like the colors are off. Well, you want to check everything is displaying right. This YouTube as well. So this is a clipping pattern on YouTube. I just found it. Just typed it in for a clipping pattern, and it should clip here at 235, right? And the reason it clips at 235 is because we're in limited. This is limited. Going all the way up to here is obviously not limited. This is completely full, but you should be clipped essentially here, right? So this should just be clipped white. You can also load up, like, say, a full screen white, you know, on YouTube and measure that too. So all of these three. So what I'm doing here is I'm getting a player, two photo apps as well, to make sure everything is correct. So again, before I've even calibrated, before I've done everything, I need to make sure every single thing that I'm using is referenced in the same color. And again, you do that on Windows, you do this in color management. Windows 10 is wrong. I had to make changes to make sure that was done right. I've heard these apps, though, have been corrected for Windows 11. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way. Yeah. So, yeah, just it might be a little complicated. If I can find the article, because I was trying to find it earlier and I couldn't find it, for people with Windows 10 to fix this this green tint look. I'll try and find it, but I was struggling to find it. So yeah, this is this is on Windows 10, and yeah, I set this as the default, and yeah, there's a guide for it. I will see if I can find it. But yeah, these everything that you display as white should measure the same. If you've got, hey, white measures one way on one device and one app, and then it measures this way, it's just, you know, you want to have some type of consistency going, so you know that when you've measured 6500 or whatever you're measuring, you know, that it's accurate everywhere across the PC. This is one problem with PCs in general, is some apps and things that you use and that are not following the same, you know, it's not following the same patterns and accuracy globally, you know. So I thought, you know, okay, so let's really get into this. I reset the color on my monitor, and now I'm just showing you what the defaults are. Brightness is 100, contrast is 50, gamma is 1. Gamma is the highest it can go in this way. What that means is it gives you the most black level detail, whereas 5 here is really dark. And again, in an office situation with lights and things like that, I'm not doing that. You know, I need as much black level detail as possible, and to my eyes it just needs to look natural, and gamma 1 is in my opinion the best for that. It comes with normal color tones, I guess you could say, or color temperature, and I'll show you what they are. Then there is a bluish, then a reddish, and then you get into the user mode. So yeah, hue 50, saturation 50, and this is actually what it measured. So measured 6500 Kelvin, that's great, but the actual grey scale itself is off, because we are this is what I would call 11% into green, but you know, it's showing here that it's actually 1, and it's really just ultra heavy green. So all of the apps that I'm using, I will link in the description. There's 2 apps now I use, and I feel as though I don't need any others. And so what I'm doing here is I'm measuring a white pan here in the Photos app, right? And I'm seeing how bright it is. So the default 50 contrast, this lux and that is measuring at 109, and then, or the FC is 109, and then the lux is 1180. What I do now is I go to websites, right? Just go to, you know, just go to Google, and is this white too bright for you? Right? This is, I'm not setting contrast up with in a work environment, right? I'm not doing that. This is not that serious. I just need to get whites under control. So what I do is I lower, I don't even actually look at this, right? I just look at this, and I literally lower, I'll simulate this for you. I lower white until it's acceptable, right? You know, I'm not going this low, but I'm just, you know, once this white becomes acceptable to me in contrast, I see roughly where I am then on these readings. And I calibrated once to 60, and then I did a 50, and I mean the FC. I went, instead of 109, it read 50, 60 for the first time, and then 50 for the next time. And that brought the contrast down to like 27, 26, or around there. To my eyes, that was much better. Now, you may have to play around with this, right? And if you can calibrate as many times as you want. So I would, before you really even get into the grayscale or anything like that, I would just make sure that white is acceptable to your eyes. And I'm talking for you looking at something for potentially even 8 hours long, right? So I lowered mine by essentially 50%. So that is pretty significant, but again, all day I just don't want to be looking at white that bright. So yeah, that was part one basically. Now I'm getting into the actual measuring and you know, what just general setup of this. Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure we're clear that this is the test pattern that I'm using. I tested two. I tested a 10% window pattern and I tested a full screen white, and they measured the same. Now on some TVs they may not. I wanted to make sure that if the white was smaller, if the TV or this monitor here would output more and make it even more intense, because the first time I measured complete full screen white, and I thought, let me just test this just to see. On this monitor it doesn't do that. It seems to equally distribute all the way across. Now this may be because my contrast is lower, that's potential, but I found that this was equal, so I was like, that's pretty good. So yeah, I lowered the contrast to 27, and now I got this to, so what I did was I lowered the contrast, let's just say it measured 27 now. I lowered the contrast to 26 and the FC went to like 47, and I was like, nope, let's go back. Right, so I wanted it like a click into the 50s is how I did it. And this is pretty accurate, or sensitive. You know, once you make one adjustment, it really shows you. Just to be clear as well, I'm putting my phone on the TV, right? I'm measuring this white with the camera itself, with this app. So, and one thing I did notice with the monitor though, is the monitor is very finicky, like with its power. Like this can move around quite a lot, and then 5 minutes or 2 minutes later, it can completely stabilize. Like it doesn't move whatsoever, and then it will do that for about a minute, and then it will start moving again. So I don't know. I mean, I think this was like at the time I bought it, it was like a $250, maybe $300 monitor. This was back when I used to play first-person shooters. I wanted something that was fast, had a good response time, because the jump from playing shooters on a CRT, which is essentially perfect and instant, to these LCD monitors for me was a horrible experience. I've played on some of the worst LCDs before that had horrible response time. If you went to the right or the left or looked, you were looking around, it just didn't happen on the screen. And I wanted that. With first person shooters, you need that instant response. And once monitors started getting really good, below 8 milliseconds, I would consider that more acceptable. Then it started to get really good. So yeah, so we're on normal, and I'm just showing you here the modes of what you can do. The user mode is on 100, and right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these modes here, and there's 4 pictures, and they will be for normal, bluish, reddish, and then the user mode, right? So normal measures 6150 with a green push. This is the bluish, and 7650 again with a green push, but this is very cold. Now this is the warm. This is better, but again you can even tell in this screen under here that it's green. It's just a horrible green push here now. This is everything is 100, but again we've got a green push, so yeah. Now if you're using this app and you get these messages, this is really when the light from the source is just not strong enough, but it does still measure, so you know, it's not really something I worry about. Okay, so yeah, that is that part. So you know, we've established which one is the most accurate to use. Well, not really. we've seen the accuracy of these, but we need this, right? We need this level of control now to see to start taming this grayscale. So let's look at the final calibration now. So this is right. I've got these notes for me. Okay, good. Yeah. So this is 100, 100. Okay, this is not calibrated. Okay. All right. Now, what I did here is the only thing I adjusted here. I'm not worried here now about getting to 6500 Kelvin, because it's honestly not necessary for office work to be that way. For mundane office work, where most of the things you're looking at are white screens, I just don't advise it at all. So what I did was, there's two calibrations you can go for. Is you don't chase 5400 Kelvin, and all you do is balance green. That's all you do, unless you're obviously above this. If you're above 6500 Kelvin, then yeah, I would start bringing that down. Honestly, it's just it's too much blue to be working with all day on a monitor. It's too much blue. So yeah, two calibrations. One of them was I just adjusted green. I didn't adjust anything else. I just wanted to bring the green into a balance. We were below 6500 Kelvin anyway. I thought, okay, that's pretty good. Within 2%, that was fine. Next calibration I did was, I thought, well, I see this sun emblem here, and I'm like, I guarantee it's on 5400. And it's around there, you know, it might be just a hair low. So that's what I aimed for, 5400. The green, well, here's the thing with green. This was bouncing around between 0.02 and 0.01. So if I increased green by one more, it would go up to 0.04, and that's leaning too far into green. So bouncing between 1 and 2 here, I was like, okay, that's fine. So this is the calibration for just balancing green here. This is the 2%, and with 5750, all I did was I balanced the green. That was it on that mode. So I just brought it down 3 steps from 100, and it balanced out green really nice. It does look very good, but again, what I tried to do here was take some more blue out. So with this one, it's like a scale. I had green perfect by just adjusting the green. But once you start adjusting the blues and say the reds, I didn't adjust the red here, but once you start doing that, the whole balance and everything starts to change. So I brought blue down 5, and then I had to bring green down 6. Now that gave this result. So around 1 to 2% is again what I'm calling it for green. It looks good. You don't see it swaying to red, you know, that rosy red or anything like that. And I can honestly say this is much better for my eyes. And again, this is just for the mundane office work setting. It's really good. What it allows you to do is it allows you to use a full screen white, and it's not piercing your eyes. It's really not, for me it's really nice. Now when it gets to dark mode though, dark mode, well, this is very interesting. This app here, for the brightness app, I'll leave the links in the description for these. Once I calibrated that way, but at night the light now is not coming from the windows. We now have artificial light. There is much less light in the room, so the amount of light now on the screen is too much. The amount of light on the screen I was adjusting for was the light coming in, and the amount of ambient light and the lights in the room. So it makes it look natural to your eyes. Again, you don't want your screen to be ultra bright while your room is dark, and you don't want it the opposite way around, which is having lots of light coming into the room, using a dark mode, and it's actually harder to see. It's harder strain on your eyes now with the dark mode, and this is why you just need to get your settings right. So one thing I noticed right away was at night the white now was too strong, because again the light in the room was less. We didn't have everything coming in from the windows and things like that. So what I did was I used this app, and I'm on the laptop now, but what I did is once we start getting to night time, and you can set the times, you can set this to come in whenever you want. But once that sun starts going down, 7:30, 8 o'clock, I don't get back on my PC generally a lot of the times till about 8:30 at night anyway, because I'm watching a movie every night. And so this kicks in at 7, but it's like, I'm not actually on my PC yet. So I was just watching some videos on YouTube and things like that, and I was like, the white is now too much. So I just used this app and adjusted it to 85, and I was like, that's better. Like that to me is like much better. So I think, and again, this is if you don't want to use a dark mode. At night, it's probably best to just now use a night mode. I just got a new phone. It's a Pixel 6a. I moved to this Google phone from a Samsung, and that on there is really good because you can set your light mode up for the day, and then you can set the dark mode. You can set all of your apps to switch to dark mode at any particular time in the day. I'm telling you right now, Windows needs that because and to be honest, even this, if I could just automatically switch, and even in Windows, because you can either switch between light or dark on Windows, but you can't set a timer. You can't do any of that. So once we get into like Windows 12, I need that functionality. So once we get into dark, I want my dark mode to come on. I want it to be dynamic like that. I want that level of control. But some people may not like dark mode because it does make things look different. Sometimes things cannot be as readable. And you're really just switching the problems, right? You have a black screen, and now you have white text. And this contrast can also be very difficult on your eyes. So realistically, again, this is about getting the settings correct. I tested this yesterday. I was really happy with it. Again, it allows you to keep things in light mode. If people want to do that, again, you can just switch dark mode on if you really like that. But now one thing I would say is I play games at night, just like World of Warcraft and stuff like that. if anything, it felt potentially a little too warm, on the warmer side. So if and now if that is the case, what I could do, because I'm at 5400 now, is remove that calibration and just use the 97 green to just adjust this. That's it. You know, nothing else really needs to change. I'm happy with the 5700, and it doesn't look quite so orange, right? Because whites don't have this blue look anymore. You know, it is much softer on the eyes. So I have to think about things like that. You know, just a balance for my entire lifestyle of, hey, this is how I want my games to look, this is how I want work to look, this is when I want to use dark mode. You know, there's a lot of things like that to consider. So yeah. Can you, I mean, like Plasma TV for Gaming asked, can you calibrate essentially in a different way? And there really are. There's many different ways, I think, to calibrate these TVs and come up with different results, but they're still they're still accurate. There's balance here, right? There's a balance here that is nice. Again, once you get your level set correctly, with green compared to red and the blue, you don't really see these hues or anything like that. You don't see colors leaning one way or the other, except again if you're going maybe into the low 5400s. Then we're starting to get into a warmer white. It's not a red white, it's like an orange white. So yeah, just some things to consider. Much happier with this calibration, to be honest. Again, on an office monitor where you're dealing with mundane things, you know, dealing with just surfing the internet, with white pages and things like that, and there's no need to chase this 6500 gold standard, which is really for me a production and a movie standard. An accuracy standard, pictures, editing, all of that type of stuff. Sure, you need that level of accuracy 100%. You need a calibrated monitor. You need, you know, with movies, you know, my OLED is completely calibrated. But for the simple things like this, like you're using something for 6 hours a day or even longer, you can't have things, I don't think you can have things this blue and not get headaches or sore eyes and things like that. So yeah, I think that's everything. So yeah, round 2 of calibrating this monitor, much happier this time. It's a lot easier on the eyes, and that's really all I care about. So yeah. Do appreciate you watching. Yeah, everything that I've talked about, I'll try and get in the description. The color management stuff, I will try and find it. It's a Windows 10 thing, though. If you've got Windows 11, I think they've fixed everything in that. So, you know, just make sure every single app is really displaying the same color. There's no hues anywhere, like with greens, like there was in this photo app. Things like that. But yeah. Appreciate you watching, and have a good day.